Angela!
What's up, everybody out there in YouTube land? Wrath2501 here. Alright, guys, we got another SFM creepypasta. This is There's Something in the Blizzard by Plant. His name is just Plant, okay? So, yeah, let's see what this is all about. I like these. I just consider them I like it because of the TF2 characters. Anyway, let's go.
I grew up in a small city in the northern United States.
Northwest,
Growing up
northeast,
in such a
or
rural
central?
part of the country
What the
certainly
hell?
made for an interesting childhood. I often spent my youth outdoors, walking along dirt roads and playing in the woods near our house.
Nerd.
Those
Just
memories
kidding.
I
I'm just
have from
kidding.
my childhood must have made an impression on me. As once I was old enough to move out of
What
my
the hell?
family's house, I decided to get a place of my very own, in this very town.
Okay.
All of my friends
You're not
whom
special,
I
dude.
grew
A
up
lot of
with
people do
moved
that.
away from the town for college or job opportunities elsewhere.
Mm.
I, on the other hand, had gotten a job working in a small department store in the center of our city. I started working there during high school, and after a few years had worked myself up to management.
Cool.
Working through
Climbing
high
the
school
ladder.
gave
Good
me an
for you, man.
opportunity to save up enough money to buy a house in town. The selection of homes wasn't that vast, as not many people were in the market to sell. However, there were a couple that were well within my budget. After getting approved, I began my life as a home-owning member of society. One of the
Good on
major
you, man.
cons to living up north is the weather. The unpredictable weather
Cold.
was a constant,
Dude, I
especially
saw
in
the
the
snow
colder
coming.
months.
Just,
I'm sure some of you who happen to live in the north would agree that the weather is terrible. One minute it would be clear sunny skies, then the next is like a typhoon had settled on top of us. Over the years, I've seen my fair share
Not
of
like
bad
England.
weather, but this year had been particularly brutal for our area.
Snow.
It started in early October, the first signs of what was to come. I had awoken one morning to find that the ground was lightly covered by a stark white
What the
blanket
hell?
of snow. Even though it was
That
quite
don't look like
early
snow,
for
it looks
snow,
like ice.
it wasn't unexpected. The temperature had been dropping consistently throughout September, so I assumed it was only a matter of time. As the days passed by, the snow became heavier and heavier. It seemed like every day, another inch was added to the already growing mountain of snow that covered the city.
Damn.
Halfway through November, it happened. Our town was utterly encapsulated by the icy grips of Mother Nature. Luckily, I had the foresight to stock up on supplies in the event of being snowed in.
Good. I've seen
had awoken
places
one
where
morning
people
about a
open their
week
front
ago.
door and the snow just
The
goes all the way to
dull
the
gray
top of the
sky
door.
almost convinced me that night hadn't quite left yet. But my clock, which read 9 a.m., begged to differ.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
walked over to my bedroom
It can
window,
get that
which
dark
lightly
here, too,
rattled
in
against
SoCal.
the
It's
wailing
just- that's
gusts
usually just
of wind
rain.
outside. I found myself silently thanking that window for keeping the frigid air away from me. As I peeled back the curtain and tried my best to look outside, I found it nearly impossible. The snow was already covering the lower half of the window itself.
The way it's up there.
The
like
rest
that.
of the glass was frosted over, which made seeing through difficult. The flurry of crystallized water seemed to swirl in a violent torrent outside. I tightened my robe around me and instinctively rubbed
don't
my
look
arm.
like he's trying his robe,
I
dude.
wasn't cold at that moment, but just seeing the outside was enough to send
Yeah, it
shivers
gives you-
throughout my body.
Just looking at it.
As I got ready for the day, I called my boss and told him about my situation.
That must be the new iPhone. You see
He
the size of that
expressed
thing?
that the majority of the people in town were having the same issue. He said, unfortunately, that work would be closed until the weather improved. I couldn't help but grin at the word unfortunately. He then said he'd contact me once the weather had cleared up. Before I could hang up, my phone crackled a bit and the call had been dropped, probably due to the bad weather outside. I made
You've
a
been
pot
cut
of
off.
coffee and stared out of my large window in the living room. Despite the hours passing by, the weather was relentless. It was almost as if our town had angered nature in some way.
Probably.
As I stared through the glass,
That's a big house,
absentmindedly
dude. That
in
place is
awe of
huge.
such a
Why do you have a
spectacle,
kitchen like just off
I
to the
thought
side
I
of the
saw
living room?
something in the blizzard.
Uh-oh.
It was only for a brief moment, but had been consumed by the wall of snow. I thought it might have been an animal, searching for shelter to wait out the storm. Just the thought of being outside in this weather was disheartening.
Ooh, yeah.
The day went on, and I spent most of my time doing chores I had been neglecting up until I had nothing else to do. Then, once most of my house had been cleaned, I began watching some of my favorite movies to pass the time. I'd occasionally get up and give a passing glance to the window to see if there had been any break in the storm.
Nope.
There hadn't been. So with a sigh, I'd grab a snack and resume my movie marathon. That
Hey,
night,
I got a snack.
I found little rest as the wind outside produced a constant high-pitched shriek. It sounded like a banshee wailing outside my window.
It wasn't.
Despite the noise, I managed to drown it out with a pillow pressed tightly over my ears. The next morning was just as gloomy as the last. The sun was once again nowhere to be found, giving off this joyless atmosphere. The winds raged outside, and I was no longer in awe of nature. I was now just praying for its end. I made my way out into my kitchen and made a cup of coffee. As I sipped, I looked towards my window again. The snow had risen another couple of inches. I could feel myself growing more and more worried. In all my years living in this town, there hadn't been a blizzard as bad as this before. Watching the swirling haze outside was mesmerizing.
Caused by global warming.
As I stared, a break occurred in the snowfall, and for a second, I thought I saw someone standing outside in the snow. It looked almost like that figure I saw before. It was just a gray silhouette, being buffeted by the snow around it. As quickly as it had appeared, it vanished, consumed by the weather outside.
Wendigo.
I thought my eyes were still in the process of waking up, as the thought of someone simply standing outside in that weather wasn't likely. I tried to forget about what I thought I saw, and went on with my day. That night, as I was lying in bed trying to fall asleep, I heard a noise coming from my living room. At first I wasn't sure, but then it sounded again. It sounded like knocking on my front door. That was impossible, I thought. There was no way someone would be outside in this.
Man,
I glanced
you'd be
over
surprised
at my
how stupid
clock.
people can be.
11 p.m. and dull red numbers glowed back at me. I sat up in bed.
He was looking at a digital clock,
wondering
and I
if
thought a
would
digital
hear the
clock.
noise again. 3 more thumps echoed from my living room, down my hallway, and into my bedroom. I could feel unease growing in the pit of my stomach. I got out of bed, put on my robe, and stepped out into my living room.
Get a freaking gun.
I tried to explain the sounds I had heard as something being battered against my door by the wind, but something inside me knew that wasn't the case. I walked over to my door and tried to peek through the 3 glass windows that were set above it. Looking around, all I could see was a mix of black and white. There was no indication of anyone outside my door. Feeling a bit of relief, I thought my previous assumption had been confirmed. Just as I was making my way back to bed, I heard another knock, but this time it didn't come from my front door. The familiar sound of something hitting glass was apparent. I slowly turned towards my large glass window in the living room. Between the lightless sky and the frosted glass, it was difficult to see anything outside. I found myself being slowly drawn to it, curious as to see what was now hitting my window.
Yeah, not a good idea, dude.
I was within 5 feet from the glass. I squinted, but was unable to see anything of note. I could feel a sigh on the verge of leaving my lungs when a hand pressed against the glass.
Oh, hell no.
This bluish-white hand that struck the glass made me yelp as I took a step back. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Someone was standing outside my window, in this blizzard. Unsurprisingly, my first instinct was that someone was in desperate need of help.
Yeah?
Being stuck out in this weather would surely be a death sentence.
Oh, yeah.
I was about to turn and make my way to my door to see if I could aid them.
You saw its
before
face.
I did,
It has
I
no
saw someone
face.
a face seemed to fade into view, like stepping into a light from the shadows. It was nearly pressed against the glass. It didn't seem possible. The chalky skin contrasted against the dark background.
Oh,
Bits
jeez.
of its face seemed to be rotting away.
Ugh.
Blackened streaks of torn flesh that seemed reminiscent of frostbite.
Yep.
Half of its lower jaw was exposed. The bones seemed to be encased in frosted blood. What was disturbing me the most was that, overall, its expression seemed calm, like it was someone just patiently waiting. But its eyes, they betrayed the rest of its demeanor.
Wendigo.
Its eyes were filled with rage, jealousy, and pain. It stared at me with unflinching precision, like it wanted nothing more than to see me dead. Then, after a few painstaking seconds of
Flip it
staring,
off.
the face faded from view, and another moment later, the hand did as well. Despite its sudden departure, I know that it hasn't gone far. It's still out there,
Watching
searching
you.
for a way to get inside, searching for a way to get to me. It's been a few days since seeing that thing outside. I have taken some measures in securing my home.
Damn
I've
right.
barricaded my doors and windows as best I can.
Those boards, man. What the
I've
hell?
tried
Where'd you
contacting
get that
the police,
shit?
but the bad weather outside made service non-existent. It's not as if they could even get to me if I could call them.
Yeah.
Every night it seems there's a new knock on a different window or door in my house, as if that thing is testing my home to find a way inside. I'm just praying this storm lets up soon, because if it doesn't, and whatever that thing is breaks inside, I won't have anywhere else to run.
Okay. All right, that was a pretty good one. I like that. All right, so plant. Boom, subscription from me. Recommend you. He doesn't have many subscribers. He's got 469 nice subscribers. So guys, definitely click on the link to the original. Get down to Plant's channel, like the original, sub to him. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to me before you go, guys. Help this channel grow, guys. And we're moving along. And I thank you guys so much for helping me reach 100,000. Just wait on YouTube to get off their asses and stop treating me like shit. You know? So, we'll see what happens. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time. Tune in every day for new content. Bye-bye.